How's it going, everyone? I am the YuGiOh Scrub, but you all can call me Bailey, and today we're not playing a viewer suggestion, because people have not been suggesting any decks they want me to play. Apparently they don't want to see their decks butchered by my awful play with my strategic errors, not misplays, strategic errors. Yesterday's video was absolutely one of the worst performances I have put out in a long time. Not that I ever put out great performances, but I just was absolutely playing it terribly. I'm sure the deck is a bit better than I did it justice for, but today we're playing with a brew that I've come up with that I think is kind of interesting. It basically is a gear-free deck using Blast with Chain, no Smoke Grenade to the Thief, but gear-free with Blast with Chain to, get some free pops. But Blast with Chain also is pretty interesting because it is just a battle trap. It's not really something you see too often as damage step tricks in GOAT format, but Blast with Chain gives you 500 attack, and you can use it in the damage step since it does give you the attack in. Could be kind of interesting to, your opponent summons, I don't know, a DD Warrior Lady or a Breaker or something. They're going to attack over Don's Lug and suddenly you Blast with Chain. Or if they try to Breaker it, you can chain Blast with Chain and do some tricks that way. Only other real cards that, are anything besides just your typical Warrior with the Blast with Chain is the Warrior Returning Alive. I want to see how this performs. Going to test it out in a Warrior deck. We're playing enough Warriors that we can make it work. The BLS potentially getting that back if somehow it's discarded. And yeah, here you go. This is the deck. You guys can see it right here. Pretty standard other than the Gear Freed and the Blast with Chain and doubles the Lug. Let's go ahead. It is the default deck. Let's go join the GOAT format ladder. Click this button as always, and wow, we found an opponent right away. I didn't even get to say that I wish you're having a fantastic day, and if you're not having a fantastic day, go make it a fantastic day, and then come back and finish this video. Also, consider hitting the subscribe button, the like, the comment, all that good stuff. I'm over 760 subscribers now, which is incredible. On my way to 1,000. My goal was 1,000 by the end of 2025. I know I'm going to get there if you guys just keep clicking that button, keep commenting, leaving me, some love. Makes me want to make more videos, and, of course, the YouTube algorithm loves to see it. My opponent opens up with a reinforcement of the army, so we're playing a Warrior Mirror match. The question is, I know Earth Aggro. From the looks of it, he searches DD Assailant, summons the DD Assailant, and ends his turn. We have Rhoda, Double Trap Dust Shoot, MST that we just drew, Mystic Swordsman level 2, and BLS. So, we're going to go ahead, and I think just MST the back row to start. It was Decree. Okay, happy to see the Decree gone. And then we'll Rhoda. And what do we want to search ourselves? Blade Knight wouldn't get over the DD Assailant. Exiled Force would just put an Earth in the graveyard form. I think the best play is probably Gear Freed the Iron Knight, since we have a couple copies of it. We'll then summon the Gear Freed, attack. It will get banished. He takes 100 life points, and we'll set double Dust Shoot and end our turn. And we'll flip one Dust Shoot in standby. Exiled Force. Okay, we're going to clearly take the DD Assailant. So, he's probably going to set the Decree in either the Smashing or the Nobleman. Unfortunately, draw Jar of Greed. The Decree's pretty interesting. You don't see that too often. We are just going to run out Mystic Swordsman level 2. It might be able to bait out a normal summon Decree. Normal summon Exiled Force. He does normal the Exiled Force. We'll eat 100, but we now, if we draw a monster, could potentially get this monster off the board. I'm drinking some tea right now. Not a coffee right now. Actually, I do have a coffee next to me as well. Summons DD Warrior Lady. Hits us for 1,500. And 1,000. Come on, let's draw a Gearfried. Draw a Nobleman, a Crossout. Let's end our turn. What are these? I have so many monsters in my deck. Okay, maybe not that many. What is this? Main deck Wong Hu. Well, not looking good right now. Okay, we draw Pot of Greed. That's good. Let's activate the Greed. Zalug and Snatch Steel. We have an Earth, no Light. I think the play is Snatch Steel, DD Warrior Lady. And attack over Exiled Force. I'm not afraid of Smash. Oh, I'm afraid of Smash Mouth, but not afraid of Battle Traps. We'll then go ahead and I think we'll set Don Zalug. We just have to protect our life points a little bit. He is going to gain 1,000. But with any luck, he will attack. And he's probably going to smash and ground. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. Flips a Nobleman, and yeah, that's game. Okay. Bring in Sakuretsu Armors. Zombire is good. Take out Noblemans, take out Mystic Swordsman level 2. Trunade is decent. I think we can take out some of these traps. As we're bringing in different traps, but I think I would rather bring in like Trunade and Dust Tornado. So if he does have Decree, we can hopefully Trunade and then Chain Dust in the end phase. I think it has a solid idea, solid game plan. Opening hand. Alright. MST, Solemn Judgment, Blast with Chain, Exiled Force, Premature Burial, and Pot of Greed. So we'll obviously start with Pot of Greed. Getting Gearfried and Sakuretsu Armor. So this hand turned into a very good hand. We will summon Gearfried, set Sakuretsu, MST, Blast with Chain, and Solemn Judgment. So we have Judgment in case he has Heavy. And Blast with Chain Gearfried, which is a combo. Sakuretsu in case he has something bigger, or like a DD Lady, DD Warrior. MST for a Royal Decree. Smash and Ground. Unfortunate, but that's fine. And we can't even Premature Burial the Gearfried, since it can't be equipped. Gets a DD Assailant. Then Graceful Charities. I'll let that go through. Not about to 1-for-1 a Graceful with the Judgment when it's this early in the game. Discards 1 Smash and Ground and a Book of Mood. So 2 Smash and Grounds are gone. Pot of Greed. I'm going to have to let that go. And apologies if you hear the dog barking. Don't know what she's hearing right now. Maybe it's me talking in the other room. Now he sets a monster. Interesting. We draw our own Heavy Storm. Well, let's go ahead and just get rid of the Gravekeeper Spy he set with Exiled Force. And I think we'll end our turn. He flips Decree in the end phase, which is fine. Summons Wong Hu. We will MST the Decree, have Sakuretsu armor, gets rid of the Wanghu. We still have Judgment, Blast with Chain. We draw another Judgment. I think we'll just end our turn. Maybe we'll set the other Judgment. He sets a monster and a back row. We draw Rhoda. Let's activate Premature Burial. Get rid of the other Gravekeeper's Spy. We'll then activate Rhoda, getting ourselves the Dawn Zalug. And let's try to attack. Hitting the middle card from his hand. After that attack goes through, we get the DD Assailant out of there. And we'll end our turn. So if he has a bigger monster that isn't a DD lady, summons Kaiku. Damage. Use Blast with Chain. This makes it 1900. Hit the card closest to the hand. Torrential Tribute. I will Solemn Judgment. That third Smashing Ground, keeping our Dawn Zalug alive. Attack for 19. And rip that final card out of his hand. Tribe Infecting Virus. Really, really nice. So we have Judgment and Mirror Force set with a big Dawn Zalug. And there we go. That's a second game. Go into game 3. I do think I want to bring in the Mystic Swordsman level 2s. What do I do now? He's probably going to keep in the Spies. I think Dust Tornadoes just aren't as good. I was not expecting Spy. I think Warrior Returning Alive is alright. Maybe get rid of the Sangan. Get rid of Duo. That seems so good. Heavy Storm. Yeah. No. Gotta keep Heavy. If anything, we would take out the True Nade. Hopefully someone was watching. They're like, what are you doing? Leaving in True Nade, taking out Heavy. I caught myself. Okay, opening hand for game 3. Snatch, Steal, Solemn Judgment, Graceful Charity, the Warrior Returning Alive, and Sangan. I feel like the Warrior Returning Alive also makes the Graceful Charity slightly better. We draw Blast with Chain. So we'll go ahead and activate Graceful Charity. Drawing MST, DD Warrior Lady, and Heavy Storm. Discarding probably I think it's Sangan. Put a Dark in the Grave. And do we do the Warrior Returning Alive? Or do we do Blast with Chain? No, we keep the Blast. We need to get rid of the Warrior. Next, we'll activate Heavy Storm, just taking a plus. Getting rid of Ring of Destruction and Royal Decree. I like those trades. We'll then summon DD Warrior Lady. And activate Snatch Steal. And attack for a decent amount of damage. Set Blast with Chain, Judgment, MST. End our turn. He can't summon small things because of the Wanghu. He gains 1,000 life points. Summons his own DD Warrior Lady. That's fine. We'll end our turn here. We draw Solemn Judgment. We'll just go ahead, go to battle and attack. Gets rid of his own Wong Hu. The DD Warrior Lady effect will attack with DD Warrior Lady. The Book of Moons. The Warrior Lady will set Judgment, end our turn. I will MST, Decree in the end phase. Keep our judgments alive. We draw Sakuretsu Armor, keeping our DD Warrior Lady alive from that Nobleman across out. Flip DD Warrior Lady, attack. Set Sock, and end our turn. So we have Blast with Chain, Solemn Judgment, Sakuretsu Armor. A monster that will trade with his 1-for-1. I'll let that Graceful go through. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I would rather him draw 3, discard 2. Maybe I should have. Discards Jinzo and Kaiku. We draw Gearfried the Iron Knight. Summon Gearfried. We'll go to battle. With Blast with Chain, target the Gearfried. Popping the monster. It was a Gravekeeper Spy, that's what I thought it was going to be. And then we'll attack. Not for game. We will Solemn Judgment. That Mirror Force. Hitting for 3,300 and ending our turn. So we have a top deck to try to win this game. Summons a Wong Hu. And GG's. See if my opponent says anything. Nope, he just left. Okay. Let's go ahead. Join it again. Performed pretty well. Not so well game 1. Games 2 and 3, it looked okay. I mean, it's a warrior deck. How bad can it be? We lose Rock, Paper, Scissors again. What card is this? I like this card. My opponent's icon. Some cute ducks. This duck is a hat. Opening hand. Breaker, Mystic Swordsman level 2, Solemn Judgment, Heavy Storm, Don Zalug. And my opponent opens up with a Delinquent Duo, hitting the Breaker from our hand, and we discard Solemn Judgment. I will normal summon Mystic Swordsman level 2, opening into Swordsman level 2, Don Zalug, Blade Knight, Heavy Storm. We get rid of the Magician of Faith, and we'll set the Heavy Storm. Okay, it's a Dust Tornado. That's unfortunate, but what can you do? Opponent opens up turn 2 with a Pot of Greed. And then Breaker summon attacks over our Mystic Swordsman level 2. Now that he knows Heavy's gone, he sets all of everything. Alright, we're just going to admit defeat because we're not coming back from this game. We're going to lose more and more cards every turn. Let's bring in another Mystic Swordsman level 2. Get rid of that Sangan. We saw Dust Tornadoes, so I don't want to bring in Sakuretsu Armors. Those are too slow. Maybe one Dust Tornado over Blaster. But Blaster Chain's like the point of this deck. One Dust Tornado over a Jar of Greed. I just love the idea of using battle tricks with the Blaster Chain. Opening hand, Don Zalug, Double Gearfried, Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, Solemn Judgment, and Snatch, Steal. We'll go ahead, and I think set Don Zalug. We'll set the Judgment just in case. Opponent opens up with Delinquent Duo again. Hitting our Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke will get rid of a Gearfried. Summons Zombira the Dark. And we're going to Solemn Judgment. And my opponent has Pot of Greed as well. Goodness gracious. Alright, we draw Dust Tornado. Let's go ahead and flip the Don Zalug. And just try to attack. He has a Book of Moon. We'll set Dust Tornado. End our turn. He summons Breaker. And we're going to hit Mind Crush. Alright, we draw Torrential Tribute. We'll summon Gearfried, get over this Breaker. We'll keep Torrential Tribute in hand. He summons a Kaiku and just rams into the Gearfried. We draw Jar of Greed. We'll set Torrential and Jar of Greed. He sets one monster and one back row. We draw another Gearfried. Let's go ahead. Do we try to attack? No, we don't. I don't want to put a monster on the board when we have Torrential Tribute. Magician of Faith gets Delinquent Duo. Yeah, I guess we'll just lose Snatch, Steal, and Gearfried. We're Torrential Tributing the Blade Knight and Magician of Faith. We draw Graceful Charity. Use Jar of Greed. Draw Pot of Greed. Activate Pot of Greed. Use Solemn Judgments. Activate Graceful Charity. Get Dust Shoot, Mystic Swordsman level 2, Nobleman a Crossout. Get rid of Dust Shoot and Mystic Swordsman level 2. We'll set Nobleman, end our turn. He's playing a Chaos Warrior. Summon Sangan. Hits us for 1,000. We draw Heavy Storm. A little late. Hits us for 1,000. Set a monster. We draw Ring of Destruction. We'll set it. We will unfortunately just lose because we can't Ring of Destruction. I mean, we can, but we just lose. And we'll do a third match. Games are going really quick with this deck. 2 matches in, and we're only 23 minutes into the video. That's crazy. You guys might get a second deck. I don't even know what I'm going to play. But I feel like I can't do 4 or 5 matches in one video. We'll see how long the third is. I feel like this is going to be a long match. I just have a weird feeling. Ugh, got a mouthful of tea bag. That sounds way worse than it is. A literal tea bag full of leaves. A mouthful of tea bag and other. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why it seemed like he had more cards than he should have. Alright, opponent sets a monster. We're just gonna run out Don Zalug and try to attack. It was Mataza the Zapper. Interesting. Was not expecting that. We'll set Blast with Chain and Trap Dust Shoot and end our turn. We'll flip Trap Dust Shoot. And my opponent quit immediately after seeing Trap Dust Shoot. Okay, I guess we're doing technically a 4th match. Goodness. I didn't even feel like that was that strong of an opening hand. Here we go. We'll pick paper. We lose again. Did we win that last one? I don't think we did. I think we've lost every single rock, paper, scissors so far. But we've won one match. Technically two if you count that quit. But won one real match and lost one. Blast with Chain, Solemn Judgment, Jar of Greed, Premature Burial, Snatch, Deal. And Heavy Storm. Okay. Let's go ahead. Set Jar of Greed. Set Heavy Storm. Okay, so is he? I imagine he's playing the reasoning deck. That's water. Let's go ahead, activate Jar of Greed. We get a Gearfried the Iron Knight. I was hoping for a Don's Luke, but I'll take Gearfried. I'll set Blast with Chain and Solemn Judgment. I think we need to put our defense on the board right away, because this deck is an explosive deck. He Heavy Storms. We will Solemn. It's paying a lot of life points, but I think we really need to keep the Blast with Chain. I will get rid of the Legendary Ocean when that goes to grave. Because I'm imagining he was going to try to tribute for a Daedalus. We draw Mystic Swordsman level 2. We will Heavy Storm. He could have used the Aqua Spirit effect. Kind of waited a minute, but he chose not to. And then, do we just push for as much damage as possible? I think we do. I think we Snatch Deal. And we'll run out Mystic Swords in level 2. We'll keep Exiled Force. It's not quite as much damage as we could do. But 43. What's that? 27 plus... Yeah, okay, that's 43. He's quicker at math than I am. So he gains 1,000. Yeah, he never special summons that one, so he couldn't bring it back. I think we'll bring in Dust Tornadoes, because we want to be able to hit. Dust Shoots could be decent, actually. But we really want to be able to hit those Legendary Oceans. I think this is probably as good as we're going to get. Maybe Token Thanksgivings. We saw Metamorphosis, which was interesting. Maybe get rid of a Sangan. Opening hand is Pot of Greed, Blast with Chain, BLS, Blade Knight, Dust Tornado. Reasoning. What do we want to call? We'll call 7, because I know the Daedalus is 7. Fenrir, one of the cards that can't be normaled. Hit Sangan, alright. He summons a Sangan. Puts Legendary Ocean onto the board and sets a monster. We draw Solemn Judgment. We'll start with a Pot of Greed, getting Premature and Blast with Chain. We will then summon Blade Knight and attack over this set monster. Sinister Serpent, okay. We'll set Dust Tornado, Solemn, and double Blast with Chain. And I'm going to, in standby, get rid of Legendary Ocean because I don't want him tributing for a Daedalus. We're going to go ahead and Judgment that Metamorphosis. I don't want to lose my Blade Knight. He summons Aqua Spirit. We draw Rhoda. Goes to defense. He could have done that last game, but he didn't. We will Reinforcement of the Army, getting ourselves Don Zalug, because we can normal the Zalug, attack over the Aqua Spirit. We have a Light in the Dark now, and we can end our turn. Gearfried obviously would have been good as well, maybe a bit better, but I'm hoping we can do some shenanigans where he tries to attack into the Zalug. Get Token Thanksgiving. That was probably a really bad choice, to be honest. We'll go to attack, and with the Blade Knight, attack this face down. It was the Sinister Serpent. Attack the Sangan. Get it off of the board. No targets. Okay. Main phase 2, end phase. He gets back Sinister Serpent. Sets a monster. That's fine. There's the Scapegoat, so I hope we get to Token Thanksgiving. We draw Gearfried. Fantastic draw. We'll go ahead, Token Thanksgiving. Plus 3,200 life points. We'll summon Gearfried. Attack the Serpent. Attack with Don Zalug. Declare the Zalug and hit that middle card. Hitting the Daedalus from his hand. End our turn. He gets Sinister Serpent. Summons Abyss Soldier. Prio, obviously. We will target Blast with Chain. We'll go to the graveyard. We'll pop the Abyss Soldier. And that should be game. Because if he has one set card, we can pop a Blast with Chain. Summons Fenrir. Damage. And we'll pump the Zalug up to 19, hitting that card out of his hand. GG's. That was a solid game. I like that a lot. Okay, and we'll do one more match because we're only at 34 minutes. We're getting tons and tons of gameplay in this video today. But I feel like Blast with Chain isn't that bad. It can feel so bad when you have like multiple copies, but maybe it's better at 2 than it is at 3. But I like the idea of using Zalug and Gearfried. You have 2 cards that it can combo with. And because of that, I feel like 3 is not maybe optimal, but it's usable. Opening hand is, Noblein, Gearfried, Ring of Destruction, Mystic Swordsman level 2, and BLS. Opponent opens up Delinquent Duo, hitting Mystic Swordsman level 2. And we'll get rid of BLS. It's just dead for too long. Jesus. So, the matches we've won have been relatively fair. The matches we seem to be losing are when my opponent opens up Delinquent Duo, Pot of Greed, both games. And, wow. Wow. Graceful Charity to top it all off. Probably discarding Sinister Serpent, Night Assailant, or like Night Assailant, Magician of Faith. Magician of Faith. Okay, so 2 Faiths. Alright, well at least we open up our own Delinquent Duo. Hitting that card from his hand. Mage Power. Is he running Benkai? Summon Gearfried and attack. I think he's running a Benkai OTK deck. Two lights, no darks in his grave. Uses Giant Trunade. We'll take Ring of Destruction back. There's Benkai. United we stand. Axe of Despair. $500, $2,300, $2,300. We draw Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. We'll set Ring. Summon Sasuke. End our turn. We will Ring of Destruction, because I don't want that to be a Royal Decree. Heavy Storm, it was a decree, so I'm glad we used Ring in the end phase, and we'll set Nobleman just as a bluff. At this low life points, it doesn't matter. Summons BLS. Benkai is a dark. Wow. But he uses priority and gets her. Okay. Summon Tsukiyomi. So we lose that. Bring in Sakuretsu's. We can bring in like Zombira, I suppose. Blade Knight. Get rid of Dust Shoots could be pretty good. Get rid of Jar of Greeds. Especially when we see Decree. Get that Sangan out of here. That's doing nothing. I think this looks okay. Maybe, yeah, this seems fine. Okay, we'll go first. Let's see if we can win more matches than we lose. Mystic Swordsman level 2, Reinforcement of the Army, Delinquent Duo, Breaker, Nobleman across out, Heavy Storm. Let's start with Delinquent Duo. Hitting Graceful Charity and Rhoda from his hand. We'll then summon Breaker and end our turn. He activates Pot of Greed, so he gets the plus that we got with Delinquent Duo right back, and he ends his turn. Well, obviously here, we're going to Rhoda, get ourselves Don Zalug, summon the Zalug, and hit that middle card out of his hand. Axe of Despair. Okay. And I think we'll bring in Dust Tornadoes over the Dust Shoots. Dust Shoots could be so good, though. Zombira is not going to be that good. What am I thinking? Blade Knight's pretty decent. Get the BLS out of here. BLS, are we really going to take out BLS? Let's keep in BLS over one of the Sakuretsus. Sakuretsu just has the potential to be so good, because if your opponent summons a Benkai and puts a ton of equips on it, but your opponent's not going to do that unless they have a True Nade or a Heavy Storm. Opening hand is Dust Tornado, Heavy Storm, Pot of Greed, Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, and Blade Knight. He hits Dust Tornado and will discard Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. We have a Blade Knight in case he sets a monster. What are these hands in just opening trinities? Both me and my opponent have seen so many in our opening hands. So he starts with a duo, discards Exiled Force and a Metamorphosis from his Graceful Charity activation, and sets one back row and ends. We draw Snatch Steal. We'll activate Pot of Greed. Drawing Sakuretsu Armor and Trap Dust Shoot. We'll summon Blade Knight and try to attack. We will set Dust Shoot, set Heavy Storm. He scapegoats in the end phase. That's fine. We'll Dust Shoot in standby. Hitting Benkai. Okay, so he would have had game there. Heavy Storm, United We Stand, Mage Power, Axe of Despair. So he heavies to get rid of our heavy. And what's this? 1,000 plus 32. This game. $15 plus 32 plus 1,000. Yep, it's not. We'll take, what's this? 4,100. We get a Gearfried to draw. We'll summon Gearfried. Obviously, just attack over one of these tokens. He draws a card. We will Sakuretsu Armor. Getting rid of all these spells. Opponent ends. We have 2 lights, no darks, and he has nothing. We will attack with Gearfried over the token. Probably should have attacked with Gearfried over the thing. Cyberjar. He gets Scapegoat, Benkai. And alright, we will go ahead and attack these monsters. So we'll get rid of both of them, Benkai and Magician of Faith. He gets back Graceful Charity. We'll set Double Blast with Chain. End our turn. He does have a Light and a Dark Engrave. What did he add? Let's look. It was BLS. It was Scapegoat, BLS, and Acts of Despair. Alright, let's see what he does. Graceful Charity. That has to be fine. He draws 3. Discarding Benkai and Scapegoat. Activates Pot of Greed. Probably looking for True Nade. We got rid of the United We Stand and Mage Power. Activate Scapegoat. Okay, but he can't summon. He doesn't, okay. I think we go ahead and Rhoda for DD Warrior Lady, because it forces the BLS to get rid of this. And we'll attack 3 tokens. I'm not going to waste Blast with Chains to get rid of tokens and potentially hit a card out of his hand. We'll just end our turn here. Opponent's playing a little bit slow, but like not slow enough to call him out or anything. Just slow enough that it's kind of frustrating. Do we go ahead? No, we're gonna just keep these. We're not gonna use the Blaster Chain to get rid of a token. We can Snatch Steal the BLS. He banishes a Light and a Dark. I assume he's going to either banish the Warrior Lady or attack over the Gearfried and Zalug. Probably attack over Gearfried and Zalug. Yeah, that will do it. That's going to be game. Make sure, yeah. So we'll do take 3,600. Yeah. Unfortunate. Nothing we could have done there. Like, I mean, I suppose the Mirror Force would have been a good draw. Actually, no, because he would have True Naded it anyways. Yeah. We played it as well as we could have. The token not using Blaster Chain didn't change anything. But that's just what happens when we play Benkai. You know, it's a heavy OTK deck, and it was a pretty fun match, to be honest. I liked that. But I think this deck performed pretty well. Changes I might make would be like some different ratios with the Jar of Greeds and the Trap Dust Shoots. I know a lot of warriors just like running traps, especially with Blade Knights, can just be so good. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it, but I wanted to see the Blaster Chains, and Trap Dust Shoot can be really powerful, obviously. It's just an incredible card, especially against a deck like the Benkai deck, because you hit Benkai and suddenly they have all these random cards, like you saw with that turn where I took the Benkai and he had to boost up a token, which was just bad. You never want to just boost up a token. He would have had game otherwise. But, you know, I think the deck performed well. Also, Warrior Returning Alive did literally nothing, so probably get rid of that. You know, how good can that really be? You're probably better off just running a one of these cards, you know, a Sakuretsu or the Tribe Infecting Virus. But let me know what you guys think of this deck and what you want me to play in the future. Thank you all for watching. I am the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scrub, and goodbye.